I'd like to welcome everybody to the Coaches in the Mouth pod. This is Coach Jeff Williams, along with Coach Daryl Fimple in the Mouth, Brent Bender. Hey, guys, before we get into it, let's thank our sponsors. I'd like to thank Lindsay and Associated, All-American Steakhouse here in Springdale, of course, the Pigs brand. This would not be possible without our partnerships with those guys. Guys, let's recap from last week. Daryl, our marquee game, the Carlisle Bisons pretty much dominated, and then Benton dominated, and that Fayetteville game was unbelievable. What was your breakdown on this past weekend?
The Fayetteville, Texas high game was phenomenal, back and forth.
It could go down as game of the year.
It was crazy. It was in the 50s. The kids made plays on both sides. We're going to see some of those kids on TV one day, no doubt. That was a pretty awesome football game to watch.
Well, what did you take away from Fayetteville? I thought, the speed wise, especially on offense, defense, they run real well. They gave us some points, but that team, unbelievable.
The point about Texas was they were average about 40 going in.
Yeah.
So they'd be explosive, but I thought Fayetteville was just as explosive.
Yeah.
It was just a back and forth game, like whoever had the ball last was going to win kind of deal. So it was pretty amazing to watch that. Just the team speed on both sides was, it was wow. It'd wow you for sure.
It will. Mouth, what you were down in Searcy, got some of the Benton Harding Academy game. Benton just too physical, too much for those guys.
Oh, yeah. Harding Academy hung with them for as long as they could, but Benton has got some beautiful looking individuals when they come off the bus.
Yes, I did. Yes,
and they had 3 bus loads full of them coming off.
They were.
Might have been an issue, huh?
Yeah,
Coach Elmore said them letters mean something.
That's right. Absolutely, they do.
That's exactly right. And I'll tell you another game. The McGee DeWitt game right there. Back and forth, and McGee scores right at the end, goes for 2, beats DeWitt. Even though it wasn't a lot of games last week, there were a lot of really, really good games and everything.
Well, McGee DeWitt was just, I think it was like they held DeWitt to 147 yards rushing. It was just, and they lived by the explosive play. You have them guys that can make explosive plays. Mr. Love for McGee. That's the name to remember.
And I don't know. McGee had 2 first downs in the first half.
It was ugly. It was ugly.
It's kind of exploded here late and everything.
Yeah.
Well, we've gone through it, guys. We've hit non-conference play. We've gone through it. And one thing, we had a lot of great games. Appreciate all the coaches really going out, and especially in the smaller divisions, playing each other. We're going to talk about one school that's played there. Got another big game this week. Well, who's our player of the week, guys? It was very explosive guy, unbelievable numbers. Let's talk about our player of the week this week.
Well, Bryce Hamilton. Is that Bryce Hamilton from Hackett?
Yeah.
He was a one-man show against the Mountainburg Dragons. He had 8 carries for 307 yards, 3 touchdowns. He broke a 96, a 97, and a 68-yard. He might be still scoring if they didn't get him back down from Mountainburg. He also was 6 of 9 throwing the football for 127 yards and 1 TD. So if there was any doubt who the best player on the field was, it was Mr. Bryce Hamilton from Hackett.
Unbelievable stats on it. Who has 2 90-yard runs?
He had 434 yards offense again. This is somebody else's career once again. It's crazy. These kids are putting up some outlandish numbers. 4 TDs, 434 yards. I'm sure he got like a free pizza or something when he got back to Hackett.
Sure.
That's a free pizza night right there. That kid was amazing.
Well, Mouth will be down this week to give him that award, and we're looking forward to it. Well, all right, let's get into it, Daryl. Not a lot of things going on this past week. A lot of our top teams were off, but talk to us a little bit about your top 6, top 5.
Well, I think this is what's smart is you can tell people really challenge themselves and they use the bye week properly. To get ready for the conference race right here. We went small school first, our top 6. I got kind of a tie down here because these 2 guys are kind of pulling on my tail wings here. Walnut Ridge and Rivercrest, our Colts. I cannot wait. We're going to match up eventually. We went through God's country a little bit this week, and seeing both places. and both of them are kind of big on my heart. I think they're going to make some waves. Number 5's Carlisle, not your daddy's Carlisle anymore. We're air raiding it out there at Carlisle. We're explosive in all kinds of situations. Defensively, we're really, really solid. Number 4, kind of the one that we talked about before the season ever started, was Newport.
Yes.
The Greyhounds are going to slide into my number 4 spot, followed by, or just right above them, is going to be the Boonville Bearcats. Coach Doc just finds a way to win. All right, we're not going to turn it over, and we're going to beat some people up. That's kind of how we do it at Boonville. And our number 2 last week, I was kind of high on my guys, the Curly Wolves. We're going to slide them to 2 this week.
Sliding them down, even after the big win.
Slide them to 2. But, the good thing about Prescott, we got a guy named Dwayne White. He's leading us in sacks. He's got about 5 on the year. So we're pressuring the quarterback different ways at Prescott. Once again, defensively is where it is over there at the Curlywood land. And our number 1 spot, averaging almost 56 points a night, is the Elkins Elks.
Yeah.
We're jumping on the wagon.
And I believe it. I think they should be ranked 1. I mean, I think they are. And Prescott had a good game, but this Newport bunch of Carlisle sat there and put, a great Desert team and just destroyed them. Unbelievable. Mm-hmm. Yeah, those guys. And we're not giving up points on defense.
Well, that's what we like to do. Elkins, think about it. If you're averaging 56 and you give up 55, you're still winning. My math teacher would be proud of me. That's the only thing I could tell you on that one. Big schools, though, here's the thing I got on the big schools. We got like 3 sleeper schools around here. Now, we got 3 guys who are kind of sneaking around. I think they might be sneaky good, actually. One is Mountain Home.
Yes.
Mountain Home's 3-0 this year. They're 2-0 in Missouri. All right. So coach has got a plan. He's going to go up and beat up on Missouri. You can't find stats, probably can't get video. I mean, he's a smart cat right there. But Mountain Home, Springdale High School, 3-0. 3-0. 3-0. And Rogers. Rogers is also to a good start. And offensively, they're really, really explosive. I've seen it firsthand. They can score some points. All right. So those are my 3 sleepers in the big school top 6. Top 6, though, Pulaski Academy. Pulaski Academy is going to be number 6. Cobbs is well over 1,500 yards of total offense. You get that? That guy's got 1,500 yards of total offense in 3 games. Brandon Cobbs, phenomenal player. He's got 2 wide receivers that are well over 300 yards apiece catching the ball, the Culpeper kid, and they're fantastic. I can't wait to see them playing 6A Central. Of course, I'm going to get to see them. They play North Little Rock this week. Yeah. Number 5 is Fayetteville. They right into my 5 spot. I mean, sorry, you did lose. Can't help it. Can't help it. You gotta stay undefeated and clean. What a game though! It was an awesome game. It's gonna make them really, really good in the long run. Number 4 is gonna be Conway. And the biggest thing about Conway, we keep taking and saying over and over, is how explosive they are. But I've really been impressed with how good they are in their offensive and defensive lines. On both sides. And like I said, I think their defense is getting better and better week in, week out. Then the other thing, 3 is going to be our Parkview Patriots.
Parkview.
Slide in there. And we can use the word explosive again, dynamite, and whatever you want to talk about. I think Parkview is going to have to work on, can we have it like a 10-play drive? Right? We might even have to take a knee to get 10 plays. But let's see if we can drive the football instead of just hitting home runs the whole time. Bryant's going to be our number 2 team. As they showed against Parkview, man, they are good up front. Good up front, and they're not afraid to run the same play over and over and over and over.
To the left.
Yes.
To the left.
We're going to go behind that big left tackle, and we're going to pull that backside guard, and we're just going to smash some folks. And then we're just going to change tailbacks and smash it against them. Bryant's going to slide in there, too. The Greenwood Bulldogs. The Greenwood Bulldogs. Averaging 61 points a game and playing about 3 quarters. It's crazy. Jeez. Crazy how it's going. He's got 3 wide receivers. He's over 1,000 yards passing. Kane Archer is. They're really good defensively, but, man, they've got the Carnes kid, the Arrington kid, Champ Davis. They've got 3 wideouts that are just as explosive as anything. They're not afraid to bring those guys in motion, hand the football to them, and pull the entire right side to get out in front of him. So they're really, really good. And very, very explosive. And like I said, we haven't seen them get pushed yet. And getting into conference season, can't wait to see what happens. Got a big game with Shiloh.
Yep, could get pushed a little bit
Got a
this
big
week,
game with
so
Shiloh.
we'll
Have to
see.
hold on to football.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and bring on our Lindsay Associate guest picker, former Northside Grizzly head coach Mike Fleur. Mike, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you having me.
Well, we'll talk to us a little bit this before we get in our top 10 games. You've been through this also, is coming off that bye week. You know, if you're 3-0, you're maybe treating it one way, or if you're 1-2, 2-1, whatever, you're 0-3, you look at things differently. We had Buck James on. He was talking about focusing on himself during the bye week, or maybe adding a little scheme. What was your approach at Northside when, coming off that bye week and that, you did it in the playoffs, but obviously 0-1-2. What was your process, and what are you worried about coming off the bye week, and what are you looking forward to?
Well, I always liked the fact that, you started practice at the beginning of August and you'd worked all summer. And so you play 3 games, you kind of get a break halfway through. So, number one, how healthy are you? What do you need to do to get your guys back and get ready to go for a 7-week run with a conference schedule? And then, so we always took Monday and Fridays off, watched film, lifted weights, real good. And then we get really good practices on ourselves Tuesday, Wednesday, and then on Thursday we would start on whoever we were playing the week after, get an extra day.
Well, and you talked about those bumps and bruises and injuries and getting those guys healthy, because it's fixing to be a long stretch. You played in the 7A Central there when you were at Northside, and a little bit in the 7A West, and you're talking about the long stretch part of it. But were you ever worried about a little rushed? I mean, you get that bye week, that first quarter type deal. I was always a little bit worried about that.
No, coming from Georgia, we always had a bye week. So, and normally, it wasn't like here where it was really set up for the third week. It could be week 1, it could be week 10. I didn't like it if it was week 10, but I always enjoyed just having that week where you could just kind of, coaches, players just kind of deflate from what was going on, still practice, get ready. But I never really much worried about being rusty. I just always thought it was a good break for our kids and our coaches to come back fresh and ready to go.
Well, it is. And like I said, we talked about, people coming, it's a whole new season starting this conference season. You got yourself prepared and that part of it. Well, guys, let's go ahead and get into our games, man. We got some big top 10 games this week. Let's head over to God's country right out of the chute. Got Robert Hooks and Osceola going against Coach Tom Sears and Hoxie Mustangs. And Hoxie has been, pretty dominated that conference for years, but this conference with the Rivercrest in there, Walnut Ridge, Daryl, you hit, it's very competitive. I think this game right here could kick somebody out of the playoffs. It could put somebody in. Daryl, break this game down for us.
Well, you got Hoxie playing at home. Hoxie's 1-2 on the year. Osceola is coming off a 31-12 victory over Gosnell. Like you say, Osceola, if you look at everything, it is explosive, on offense. But Hoxie's one of them. They can control the clock. Dylan Guthrie's our leading running back. He's got 52 carries for 351 yards, 6 yards of whack there with 2 TDs. Their biggest problem has been just really producing offense. Melbourne, they got beat 13-49. They beat Westside 14-13, and then Paragould, who's surprisingly 3-0, by the way.
Yeah.
They're a surprise team too. But Paragould beat them 6-19 or 19-6. So Hoxie's kind of having a hard time, producing points, and that's something that defensively they're only giving up 21. Osceola, it's kind of a weird schedule they've had to pick up with Gosnell. They played Innsworth down to Louisiana and lost 45-0. Then they had a canceled game, and so they're kind of in flux there. But I'm going to take Osceola to travel to Hoxie. I don't think that the team speed of Osceola is going to be something that Hoxie is ready for.
I got your mouth. What do you got in this one?
I'm going the Seminoles. I'm going Osceola.
Going Osceola.
Good job.
Yeah. Coach Fleur, who you got in this one?
Well, I've got a guy there that I was pretty close with, Coach Hooks. Talked to him this morning, and so he told me I better go with those Seminoles. So that's who I was going to go with anyway. But listening to him talk, he just reassured me.
Well, that's pretty smart because Coach, I'm just going to tell you, can't get outside influence, man. People call you, you pick the wrong people, they'll call you, they're all over you, and we can't do anything about it. It's all about their performance. I mean,
That's
we
right.
can and all that.
We're trying to get where our pitcher actually gets in the opposing locker room.
I think it's about that,
Yeah,
man.
that's what we're trying to get.
That's what we're
trying to get.
Put you in Fayetteville's locker room, Daryl.
Oh yeah, there's a big giant pitcher.
They got dartboard up there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into this one. I think this is a big game. We got Salem at Melbourne. Salem, Coach Watson. Let's just break it down. He's played Pocahontas, beat those guys. He's played Prescott, played Newport. He's just lining them up, and then all of a sudden, bam! You're getting a top 5 team here in Melbourne. This, I think, is a big matchup. Daryl, talk to us.
Well, Melbourne defensively is the story here. They're only giving up 6 points a night. They're averaging 42. They beat Hoxie 49-13 to start the season, beat Baldwin Knob 28-0, Cave City 48-0. So defensively, Melbourne's the real deal. And like I said, those, they're averaging 42 points too. So they're pretty balanced on the offensive side of the football. Salem, like you said, schedule wise is by far probably played the stronger schedule so far. They're only scoring 19 points a game though, when they're having a hard time in the red zone area. Keegan Sanders is leading them in tackles. Well, he's actually second in tackles. He's actually has 4 sacks in the years for Salem. Skylar Payne has 26 tackles. They really hadn't got their running game going like they did in the past. They're going to have to do that to get in this game and keep in this game. But I'm going to take Melbourne at home. Melbourne at home. I think opening the season, I think Melbourne is the confidence is pretty high.
And I agree. And Salem's got some injuries also. Mouth.
I'm going to go Salem.
Going with Salem. Coach Fleur, who you got in this one?
Well, I don't know a whole lot about either one of them being in a retired state, but when I listen to Coach there talk about defense, I'm going to go with the defense. I'm going to go with Melbourne.
Going with Melbourne. Coach going with Melbourne. I'm going to go with Salem, even though they got some injuries, but I think the way they played and who they played, they're going to be a little bit better prepared, but they've got some injuries to overcome. All right, up here in the 5A West, this could be for the conference championship right here. Now, there's a lot of good teams in 5A West still out there, but these two right here, most people, if you're talking today, they're putting these guys at top. We got Cody McNabb, Morrilton, headed over to Greenbrier with Coach Tribble. Daryl, break this one down. Morrilton's just been dominated in the non-conference. Greenbrier's been up and down, dealt with some injuries, but Cody McNabb, no noise over there and just taking care of business.
They're averaging, they've scored 120 points. They've given up 63 in the 3 games they've played. So they're averaging about 40 points a night. They've given up 21. They beat Russellville to open the season 35-30. Then they turn around and beat Texarkana 51-21, and then beat Whitehall 34-12. Morrilton did. And they're doing it several different ways, too. I think they're playing pretty good on the defensive side of football, too. The big telltale with this is Greenbrier's also played Russellville. If you look at the scores, of course, you always look at the scores. But they lost to Russellville 7-10. And this is kind of when the injuries started occurring a little bit, too. Against Warren, they showed that they could run the football. They got to get back to that. They beat Van Buren 30-8-20. They're giving up 10.6 points a game, though, and they're averaging about 28, Greenbrier is. And Greenbrier's at home, where they beat Warren.
Yeah. Coming
home. All right. So Cody's taking his group over there. They've got 2 wins at home because they also beat Van Buren at home, too. So I'm going to take this. Boy, I might pay for this, too, by the way. This might be in Devil Dog Land. I'm taking Greenbrier at home.
Greenbrier at home. It's a tough one, and it is. Mouth, who you got? You're pretty connected there in Morrilton. What do you like in this one?
I will tell you what, Coach McNabb's just got to be so excited about where his team is after 3 weeks, beating Russellville, then just a dominating performance against Texarkana, and I'm going to step out on the limb, and I'm going to go Morrilton.
Mouth's going Morrilton right there. Coach Fleur, who you like in this one?
Well, I'll step out on the limb with I'm out there and go with Morrilton too.
Going Morrilton. Coach Fleur's going Morrilton. I'm gonna go with Morrilton also. I think Greenbrier's got some injuries. I think Morrilton is geared up. I think they're healthy. And they've kind of been in the middle of the pack. They're back to familiar conference. I'm going Morrilton also. I think Coach McNabb and those guys get it done.
Looking at my current prediction record right now, Morrilton's probably happy that took Green. Just gonna say, they're probably celebrating right now. Thank you, Coach Pebble, for picking.
That's exactly which we're gonna get into those records here when we get done with these picks. Also, we'll get into that here in a minute.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. This is a very interesting game. I think this is a playoff situation. Also, we got El Dorado going to Little Rock Catholic. Break this down. Catholic comes off a North Little Rock win. El Dorado's kind of. We don't, they're beat Fairview. They're kind of been up and down a little bit. Talk to us a little bit about this one.
Open the season, they lost to Little Rock Christian 14-21.
Yeah.
And then they turn around and beat the Fighting Vons 35-34. And then they beat Texarkana 42-20. They're averaging about 30 points a game, giving up 25. They still have explosive players on the outside, and defensively, I think they're actually getting better. As you go on. I think they're playing a lot of younger kids too. Catholic, very impressive last week with their quarterback play. Noah Lewis, he's an explosive cat. They got back at the backfield. He's averaged about 100 yards rushing. They have put up 88 points on the year. 39 of them they've given up. So they're averaging about right at 30, and they're giving up about 13. All right. So, like I said, we always like defense on this side of the ball, that somebody's playing at home. So I'm going to take Catholic at home. The Rockets.
Taking Catholic. Mouth, who do you like in this one?
This is going to be a really, really good game. I like Coach Chris Wood and the El Dorado Wildcats.
Like the Wildcats. I'm with you. Coach Fleur, if anybody knows how hard it is to go to War Memorial Stadium and play Little Rock Catholic, you do. Talk to us a little bit about this one.
Yeah, it's they're always different playing down there. It seems like brings out the best in them, and maybe not so much the best in yourself. But I'm gonna have to go with Catholic at home.
Coach Fleur's going with Catholic. I'm gonna go with Catholic just because they're at home. I think they're at home, and El Dorado's young, and it's just a tough place to play. All right, this game here, going down to South Arkansas. The Warren Lumberjacks coming off their 1-2, going to DeWitt. DeWitt coming off a tough loss against McGee last week. McGee goes for 2, losing the final seconds. Warren struggled with DeWitt last year a little bit. Talk to us a little bit. What's Uncle Bo facing this week, Daryl?
Well, you got Bo on a bye week.
So he ain't happy. And he ain't happy.
Sure, he's not real happy. The first thing they got to fix is they've given up 104 points, and they're almost giving up 35 points a night. And then their offense is only generating about 31 points a night. The Greenbrier game, they lost the quarterback. You thought, hey, they showed up against Whitehall 46-14, and then Elkins just dominated that game from start to finish. So I think the bye week was huge for them. Good scheduling on Uncle Bo's. You knew he would figure this thing out. So I look for some new wrinkles here. I think we've got a week of I'm fired up and mad at the world, and I think that our kids are a little generous because Warren's kids aren't used to losing. I mean, once you've won and had that taste, of course, you're having to travel to DeWitt. Yeah. And like I said, if DeWitt can generate some offense, because defensively they're only giving up 12 points a night, and their defensive lines were really, really strong. They only rushed for 149 yards or generated that last week, but the Ross kid and Graham kid combined for about 150 yards rushing. Ross had 2 touchdowns on the ground against the McGee Owls. So this is a tough one because this is huge to open that conference run here. But I'm going to give Warren the upper hand with the bye week, and I believe in Bo. All right? I believe in Bo, and I bet you he has not said a positive word in about 10 days. So I think we're going to be a little hungry to go into DeWitt. Yeah. Yes.
I actually saw him this weekend, and he said nobody's liking him right now. Nobody wants to be around him. He's kind of
guarantee you. I guarantee he's probably locked in a room close to his own bathroom at home. We're just going to stay away. I'm sure his wife is a veteran wife. She knows exactly what her role is.
Yeah, get away from that guy. He's crazy. No
Exactly.
doubt. No doubt.
Exactly.
All right, Mouth. Talk to us. You and Uncle Bo, you've been down to practice.
I've been down to practice. A week off for Uncle Bo is what the doctor ordered, and I got to get back in Uncle Bo's good graces here because he's been talking about me that I only talk to winners, and I have decided that I am going back on the Bo bus, back on the Bo bus. Yes.
Good with Bo bus. I'm gonna go with Bo. I think they got too much firepower for DeWitt. Just way too much. Coach Fleur, break this one down.
I'm gonna stay with all you guys. I'm gonna go with him too.
Yeah, they just got too many weapons. Way too many weapons. All right, here we go. 5A South, guys. This one here, and we're big fans of Coach Rockwall from Lakeside and the Fighting Vaughns. We got Lakeside at Fairview, about as evenly matched you could have. Daryl, break this one down.
Well, you got Lakeside. I think I even chose Lakeside last week. Sorry, Lakeside. Yeah. Robinson dropped a close one to Robinson, 19-24 on the year. They've scored 109 points, giving up 80. They're averaging about 36 points a night, giving up 26. Grady Oman. And Grady Oman's their leading rusher. He had 26 carries for 134 yards last week. On the year, he's carried it 63 times for 507 yards and 9 touchdowns, averaged about 8 yards a whack. They also have a really good corner, Chris Ford. He's got 2 interceptions on the year. Had 1 pick six against Sheridan a couple weeks ago. Cannon Martin is actually their leading sacker with 2 at Lakeside. Defensively, they're really, really solid. Of course, Fairview's hard to figure out. Fairview's quarterback is probably the most explosive player on both sides of the field, Daryl Atkins. And Atkins is 58 of 83 for 731 yards and 7 touchdowns. He's got a big-time target in Will Hinlin, who caught 15 passes for 228 yards already, and he's got 2 touchdowns on the year. They went over to Pine Bluff and beat Pine Bluff 27-0. It's kind of weird. They beat a really good Arkadelphia team early, 40-25. Then they dropped a close one to El Dorado and just a turnover fest. They're scoring about 33 points a game, 20 points. I'm going to take the Fighting Vaughns at home.
Fighting Vaughns.
Fighting Vaughns are going to figure out a way to get this thing done at home.
Well,
I like their chances.
This is a heck of a game last year. Mouth, who you got in this one?
And this is a fascinating matchup between 2 veteran coaches, but relatively new. I think both in their 3rd years or 4th years head coaches of their programs. Should be a fascinating game. But I'm going with the Fighting Vaughns.
Going with
Fairview Cardinals.
Going with the Fighting Vaughns. Coach Fleur, who do you like in this one?
Well, I'm going to go opposite. I'm going to go with that quarterback. I'm going to go with Fairview.
I'm going to go with the Fighting Vaughns also. I think he's got them ready to go. The only thing is he's got a young offensive line and they've kind of what he was worried about going into preseason non-conference, and they're starting to develop. I'm going to go with Fairview also. All right, this game right here, man, and I've had my eye on this for a while. You're talking about a 6A West game. Mountain Home, who you brought up earlier, who is, I think, a sleeper team. There ain't no doubt about it. They're very well coached. They're very physical. They're long and lanky and can run. Going to Fort Smith Southside. Now, when Southside played Southwest last week, wasn't the greatest performance. It's struggle. I mean, struggled over there with those guys. And so I think you're looking out here possibly a 2 or 3 seed in the conference on this one. Break it down, Daryl.
Well, Mountain Home, like I said, they're off to a great start. They're actually 2-0 in Missouri, and I think they're ranked over there. They've scored 123 points. They've only given up 60 on the year. That's 41 on offense, and they're only giving up 20 points. And like you said, they're very athletic.
Yes.
I mean, they can live on the big play. Like I said, they scored 50 against Rolla. They scored 43 against West Plains. They scored 30 against Harrison. And that was kind of a late game where we just ran the clock out because we were, rubbing salt in the wound, I think, a lot of times on the Mount Home game. And Southside, boy, aren't you happy you moved down? Because Southside has shown that they've found some offense, even though they struggled last week a little bit. But Blake Forgenson was 17 of 28 for 261 yards, and he threw a pick. The Zimmerman kid, they found some weapons offensively on the outside. Jalen Webb carried it 20 times for 112 yards. So they figured out the biggest part that we were kind of questioning was whether they could score or not. Remember, they were returning like one starter on the offensive side. So I think Southside's figured some stuff out. Mountain Home, that's a long trip to Fort Smith.
Yes, it is.
They might leave on Thursday. I'm telling you, that's a long trip to go down to Southside and play, get off that bus. So I'm actually going to take the Southside.
Southside
at home.
Southside home. Mouth.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm close to the Southside program. I truly am, and I am going with the Mavericks. I think the Mavericks will defuse the bomb. Will defuse the Bombers this week.
Well, they're going to show up and play.
Yep.
Coach, who you liking this one?
Well, I've got a little bit of whatever with Southside over the years. Got to watch them come back and beat Northside at the beginning of the year and question, the toughness of their schedule. So I think I'm going to go with Mountain Home in this one.
Mountain Home, go Mountain Home. I'm going to go with Southside, but I'm going to point this out. If they play like they did last week, they're going to get beat. And they're going to have to play better, and they're going to have to – and I think you hit on it, coaches. Their non-conference schedule, this is a true test for them. But they got them at home. It's a long way, but I'm going to go with Southside on this one. All right, this one right here is another interesting one. We're starting in the 7A Central. Little Rock Christian, for the first time, moves up in 7A. They're going to go to Cabot. Big playoff implications here. This maybe you're talking about a home playoff game or going on the road in the first round. Christians look pretty good here lately. Cabot's had some injuries, had a tough schedule, has been struggling. Daryl, break it down.
Well, Cabot has, and I'll tell you the truth about Cabot is that they have just ran into all kinds of problems. First, they open with Fayetteville, lose 13-48. Then they win in overtime against Bentonville West, 44-38, which they trailed most of the game in that one. Then they went to Ruston and got just blasted. They got beat 10-49. Once again, they're having a hard time offensively generating offense. They're big up front. You think they could lean on some people, but just been turnovers have killed them too. Yeah. Just dropping the football on the field hurts a bunch. Little Rock Christian's kind of figuring out what their identity is. They started out the first year just running the football, trying to get the killer kid kind of relaxed at the quarterback position, which last week he got relaxed because he was 25 of 36 for 349 yards and 3 touchdowns. He threw 7 passes to Tristan Watson. He had 7 catches for 72 yards. Ryan Burkett had 6 catches for 81 yards. Pete Greenwood had 5 catches for 87 yards. And then there's a two-headed monster they play at tailback back there with Jackson Ward, who's their leading rusher. He had 47 yards last week, and Nick Harp. Nick Harp is their explosive back, too. So he had 10 carries for 53 yards and a touchdown. So they can hit you different ways. Little Rock Christian can. You get into these games now with Christian and PA moving up and all this other stuff. It comes down to depth. Now the summer's over. Now we're into football weather here. So it's going to get a little colder. So the cramping's probably gone by now, surely to goodness. Big, huge conference. Christians going to Cabot for probably the first time to open the 7A Central schedule up. They're fired up and want to show everybody that they can play on that level. So I'm going to take Little Rock Christian to go to Cabot and win.
Going Little Rock Christian. Have you talked to Coach Reed lately?
Coach Reed's not talking to me.
There's still no communication.
Yeah, there's no communication whatsoever.
Okay.
No.
Good.
I'm wondering if he got the boot, the candy I sent over there, but I don't think I've heard anything from his secretaries yet.
I understand. Mouth, who you got in this one?
Oh, this is a fascinating one to me. Cabot's dealing with a lot of Cabot's really, really beat up right now. Yeah. It pains me to say it, but I'm gonna have to go with Little Rock Christian.
Oh man, those boy. That's why I go with your heart right there, mouth. That's what I mean, your brain right there, not your heart. I appreciate that, man.
I mean, Connie Faye will be mad at me. She didn't speak to me after I took Fayetteville over the Panthers.
Yeah, that happens. That happens, guys. You lose friends over doing these shows, man. You lose friends on the way. It happens.
Yes,
it's okay. Yeah, and we don't care. We're just trying to help. We're just all about football in this. We don't care about that at all. Right. Exactly. I'm going to go Little Rock Christian also. I think Cabot's just too beat up right now. But if anybody can pull it out, it's Scott Reed. But I'm going to go with Cabot also. Coach Fleur, who you like in this?
Well, I'm going to go with Cabot. I'm going to stay with Coach Reed and those guys having to go over there. And it's a tough place to play. And see, I just think, like you said, if anybody can do it, Coach Reed will have them right. And so I'm gonna stick with him.
Yeah, and you got to watch Coach Reed. He's kind of sneaky about things.
I got me the first week too.
Yeah. That's good. Well, all right. Well, let's get into our 2 games of the week. Start with our small school. Oh man, it's a big one right here, guys. It's a big one. This is a big one.
Past the millage, baby.
I got past the millage over at the South Side. They're ranked. The coaches picked them to win this conference. Headed over to God's country and Pocahontas Redskins. Big matchup. We think this is probably a 3-team race in this league. This is going to be definitely could be a home playoff game, or you could be on the road possibility. Pocahontas has lost 2 tough games. Brooklyn lasted in a minute. Salem. Batesville Southside's been taking care of business. Well, let's bring on our Lindsay Associated guest, head coach for Pocahontas Redskins, Coach Casey Chester. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Well, y'all got a big game this week, or it's our small school game of the week. You got, Batesville Southside coming in, your place. Y'all been, at the top level in that conference for years, obviously. Batesville Southside's up and down, had a great run last year in 5A. Off to a good start. The coaches picked them to win the conference. I think they're a dark horse in the race for a state run. And what do you see on film, and what's your thoughts?
Well, we're different than the rest of the conference. We played Southside the last 6 years, first game of the year. So we're familiar with each other. Nobody's going to be shocked when we line up. They're very good, very well coached. Had a move in from Batesville, plays running back. Owen McLaughlin, he's ran all over the first 3 opponents. No one stopped him yet. So it's get ready for the gun tee. They run it well.
Well, and Coach Simpson and them do a phenomenal job. And like I said, y'all played them, so you're very familiar with them. Let's talk about your bunch. I mean, you've had 2. You're sitting there 1-2. You're coming in off a bye week. You've had 2 heartbreaking losses, Salem, right in the last seconds, and then boom, a couple of weeks later, you beat Greene County Tech, and then play Brooklyn, drop a touchdown pass to tie the game late. It's a learning experience, but at the end of the day, right now everybody's 0-0. How are y'all injury wise? How are you, scheme wise, or what'd you do in your off week? Was it more focused on ourselves? Were we adding some scheme? What are we doing here?
We're happy where we're at. Like you said, we had every opportunity to win those 2 games. My opinion, sometimes being 3-0 going into the conference isn't ideal. The kids have been really receptive of everything that we taught last week. We're as healthy as we've been in the last 5 years going into the conference season. So we're really happy where we're at. We worked on ourselves most of last week trying to improve things. We're starting probably 7 sophomores, at different spots, offensively and defensively. So we had a good practice. Everybody's healthy. We got our game plan installed for Southside. This week we just got to fine tune it.
Well, and you do, and like I said, sounds like you're healthy. I know you went through a bunch of injuries last year. This time last year, you were limping in going into.
We were just trying to find guys going to the game last year at this time. We had 16 different players set out a game last year, starters, at least 1 game. So we're excited to go into conference healthy. We got a sophomore quarterback. He's progressing well. We're excited to see what he can do. We've kind of had a 2 quarterback system in the non-conference. sophomore will play more in the conference season. So we're excited to see what he can do.
Well, you got Southside. You got them at home, and the Redskins always played pretty well at home. Talk to us. Your conference is very competitive, probably the most competitive it's been in a long time. Talk to me about how important it is to win those home games.
Well, we've this fourth week we've played Rivercrest this week for the last, I think, 8 years. So this has been a tough week. You don't want to drop the first one, and I think we might have beat Rivercrest twice out of those 8. But it's a big game, but you can't. The season don't ride on this one game. Truman's good, Highland's good, Gosnell's good, Blytheville's good. Cave City can give you fits. Westside can give you fits. It's like you said, it's as balanced as it's been. Got to go 1 week at a time. But everybody's saying Southside's number 3 team in the state, so we get to jump right into it right off the bat.
Well, that's what we play for. It's one game a week, man. That's what we sign up for and everything. So, Well, man, I appreciate you taking time with us. And hey, we'll be checking your work, and we'll have you on later on down the road.
All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, buddy. Take care. See you. Daryl, break this one down.
Well, Southside Batesville has been taking care of business, but they've also been taking care of the football. They're averaging about 38 points a game. They're only giving up 17. They won their opener against Forest City was 33-32. Then they went to Harrisburg, beat Harrisburg 49-12, beat Batesville 31-7, which was kind of a rival game there. Pocahontas, golly, they got beat in the last 30 seconds against Salem on just a sweep at the end to lose that one 30-28, bounce back and beat Greene County Tech 38-12. And then Brooklyn last week beat them late 14-21.
Dropped a pass in the end zone, right in the end zone.
What
are we doing?
And Pocahontas is only giving up 21 points a game. They're scoring 26. The running back, DJ Coffey, 48 carries, 355 yards, 3 touchdowns. Got to find some way to push Batesville around. I think in that new millage, though, Batesville got a weight room. They got a high-quality weight room because they're pretty physical up front. So I think that both of these guys know how to win. It's a tradition there. It's going to be a heck of a battle. But I'm going to take Southside on the road to beat Pocahontas.
Taking Southside on the road. Mouth, you're supposed to be headed over there. Talk to us a little bit about this one.
Man, Pocahontas is 1-2, but they've really been playing good football. They've really been playing good football. They just lost 2 games in the last minute. And I'm gonna go with Pocahontas Redskins.
Going with the Redskins. Mouth's going with the Redskins. Coach Fleur, who you got in this one?
Well, I'm gonna have to go with a team that's winning. It's kind of hard to break that when you find a way to lose at the end. I'm gonna go with Southside.
Going with Southside. Coach going with Southside. Well, I have no choice. Everybody knows who I'm going with. Obviously, we're going with the Redskins. We think we feel pretty good. We're going to stop the buck sweep. We're going to stop the run. We got to make some plays here down the stretch, and I think we're going to do that. I'm going to go with the Redskins on this one. All right.
Got to get to the fourth quarter, man.
That's all. Yeah, we got to make a play. We got to make a play in the fourth quarter. Come on, guys. Let's go. We got to make a freaking play down there. Let's go. All right. Big school game of the week right here. This is probably for the 6A West State Conference Championship, possibly, that everybody's looking at. Could be, obviously, some people might look at maybe state finals later on down the road. We got Greenwood at Shiloh. Your number 1 team, Shiloh's, moving up. We'll see what they got. They're getting to play the number 1 team of state. Daryl, what do you think about this one?
Well, this is here's the thing is, can we see 4 quarters? I just want to see a 4-quarter game right here. If you're Shiloh, you've got the makings of making it a 4-quarter game because you can run the football. That's not your dad's Shiloh. They don't throw it all over the place. They're really based off Griffin Mason, their running back, who's carried it 82 yards. He's already got 607 yards rushing. He's got 5 touchdowns on the year. They're averaging about 30. Defensively is where they've been struggling. Shiloh, they're giving up 28 points a night, and that's not good if you're like Greenwood, who's averaging 61. Did you just hear that? We got Coach Young on. Is he on today?
We're going to try.
That guy has 61 points in 3 quarters, just about. I mean, he's somebody on the JV team is lettering right now. We got a controversy happening because we're not making it to the fourth quarter. They've scored 184 points in 3 games. They've given up 54. They've thrown a shutout, 58-0. They're only giving up 18 points on defense. That's the thing that they're really good at too, is getting after the quarterback.
Yeah.
They get you behind, man. They can come after you in waves. They've got all kinds of weapons. Kane Archer, of course, is 68 of 85 on the year for 962 yards and 12 touchdowns. And like I said, he's only played 3 quarters. Isaiah Arrington's got 14 catches, 198 yards. Champ Davis, 20 catches, 288 yards. He's leading them in receptions. And then Grant Carnes, he was a big wide receiver for him last year, has 19 catches for 241 yards and a touchdown. So they spread it all over the place. They probably don't just lean on one running back. They have several guys they use in that role, so they're really explosive offensively. And then you got Cash Archer, who's leading the state in sacks right now with 6. Paul Brixey is their leading tackler with 27 on the Greenwood defensive side. And you want to talk about fast. I don't know. And here's going to be the interesting thing. Shiloh can run right at you.
Yeah.
There's not been anybody that's actually tried to do that against Greenwood early on in this contest. So I'm going to see anxiously how that actually works because if it doesn't, I don't know if there's a plan B at Shiloh Christian. So everybody wants to have the plan B. So I'm taking Greenwood to travel to Shiloh and kind of open the conference season with a statement game.
Statement game. I like it. I can see it being
Boy, I couldn't believe it. Can't watch the fans. I wish there was a fan cam. This will be awful.
Well, they'll be rolling. There'll be plenty of them over there, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. All right, Mouth. Who you liking this one?
And you just got to go with Greenwood. I mean, anybody, when you're averaging over 60 points a game, how do you not go with them?
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Coach Fleur, you've seen them live, and of course, you live right there, and you've seen them a bunch. You've seen them this year. Talk to us what your thought of Greenwood, and then give us your pick in this one.
Well, I'm definitely what everybody said. They're a very good football team. The big difference that I've seen in them, that we played them every year I was there, they don't run the ball like they have in the past. They're going to throw the football. Yeah, they're going to run a little bit, but always in the past they did both so good you couldn't cheat to try to help yourself with the other. This year they to me, just watching them against Northside, they threw the football almost every play. They were no backs 70% of the time. So, but they do what they do very well. And I think the big difference to me is their defense. They get after you on defense, and so if you can't match that, you're in trouble. And I'm going with Greenwood.
Well, and I believe, and you nailed their defense, and they lost a lot of guys. Man, they look like they run even better, and they're long and big, and where they need to be big, and they're fast where they need to be fast.
Dogs. It's a fast dogs.
Fast dogs
program.
Got it going. Well, coaches go with them. Well, guys, like I said, we've checked everybody's work here. Let's look at last week how we did. All right. I went 8-2. Mouth, you went 8-2. Daryl, you went 7-3. Coach Coleman last week went 7-3 overall records. I'm 28-12. Mouse at 28-12. Daryl, you're 25-15. Our guest pickers at 27-15. So got chances to make some runs here this week a little bit.
Well, I got to quit picking the underdogs, guys. Reaching out there, trying to give the little man a hand up. Every once in a while, you guys just keep on with the big guys up there. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it'll all wash out, though. We're in the conference season now, baby. Now it means something.
Yeah.
Now it means something. Now there's some awards given out here, buddy.
Yeah.
Left tackle, he's trying to get all conference, buddy. Yeah. His parents want him to be all conference. He's ready. He's ready to go.
He's ready to
go. Mean a little bit more. Right now.
People stepping up their game, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Well, guys, before I get off here, I want to thank our sponsors again, Lindsay and Associate, All-American Steakhouse in Springdale, and the Pigs brand. Man, I tell you what, if you need merch, you got to check out. You want to get Coach of the Mouth hat, get on YouTube right there, shirt right there like Coach Fimple's got on. You can get on there. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. You can find us on X and Instagram, Facebook, wherever you need to find us. Well,
we also need to give a shout out to our fans right now. I need them to bring it. You need to bring it. Click the button over there.
Click the button.
Click the button over there.
Exactly. Well, Coach Fleur, I appreciate you coming on as our guest picker. For that, we're going to give you a $100 gift card to All American Steakhouse in Springdale, and we'll send you a shirt. Coach, we appreciate you coming on.
Well, thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you having me.
Well, that's awesome. Well, for Coach Jeff Williams, Coach Daryl Fimple, and the Mouth Brent Bender, we'll see you next time.